coming up on the Lead Ministry Podcast.
We can build steps to get them to elevate them to dunk it, or we can lower the goal.
I don't want to lower the goal.
Don't want to lower the goal. I want to keep the goal up.
Now your host, Josh Denhart.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Lead Ministry Podcast. Super fun series that we're doing every month, of course. I hope you know that we're taking one of the big 12 concepts in the Lead Ministry library, a library of content, all of these different courses, and we're zeroing in on one of those main courses or one of those main concepts or topics. And if you can master this in the month of October, you're going to be far better off. So here's where we are. We talked last month about retain. Now we're talking about how to train the volunteers that you have kept. Listen, you recruited them somehow. They've been with you. Maybe you inherited them. You want to keep the good ones. And then the ones that you keep, you want to build them. The way that you build them is through training them. Well, here we are. Mr. Vance Martin, good to see you, buddy.
Hello. It's great to be back.
It's great to be back. We have fun doing this.
We do have fun.
I love it. And it's kind of, here's the deal, Vance. Me and you were hanging out at a conference, and then we're like, somebody said, hey, what if we talk to each other every week? And so then we started having these little weekly phone calls, which are super fun, talk about life and ministry and our families and stuff. And then it's just another excuse to have a fun ministry conversation. That's this.
Wait, so many times we're having the conversation like, we should have recorded this. This was really good. I learned something here.
Yeah.
And somebody else probably could as well.
Yeah. And the fun thing is that truly, like, there are times where my eyes light up and I'm like, me, let me say something next, because you've caused me to think about something, or I caused you to think about something. So we're talking about training your volunteers. It's important stuff.
Yes.
You got to train them. And people feel awkward, and they feel like, Vance, I got to be honest with you. I was a pastor on staff at a church for a really long time. And then I started doing what I'm doing right now. And then we were just attending a church. That's fine. And then we were asked if we wanted to attend a small group. All we had to do is go.
Just go.
And I'm going to be completely transparent with you. I had led small groups. I had trained others to lead small groups. But even the fact of me just going in it, and all of a sudden I was like, I feel kind of intimidated. I feel kind of scared. It was a really weird sensation. And so how much more so, not just walking in and attending, but having somebody go, hey, you're in charge. I'm going to put you in charge of this ministry task. And then you go, whoa, that's a lot. And so if in fact it was a very good life lesson. If I was intimidated to walk into a small group and all I had to do was sit there and smile and maybe answer a question, I had no responsibility, but it still freaked me out. How much more so are people freaked out when we give them the reins to the chuck wagon with 16 horses in front of them? And they're like, what? How do I do this? Well, this is where training comes in. Well, we're grateful that you guys are here on the Lead Ministry Podcast. Again, we're taking this month to talk about how to train your volunteers. Now, today's topic is training that lives beyond you. And this is my love language, Vance. I'm so glad that this is a topic that you have teed up for us. Training that lives beyond you. Because last I looked, there's really two choices, okay? You either are going to die in your ministry role. You are going to literally be at church and then you keel over and die. Either that's going to happen or you're going to retire and hand it off to somebody else. Either way, it's legacy. Either way, you're not going to be there forever.
That's right. Yeah.
So,
and we want fruit that remains.
And
the fruit that's going to remain is not the programs we built, but the people that we invested in.
That's exactly right.
That's the fruit that remains.
It's the fruit that remains. And so
that's what
we're talking about training that lives beyond you. Now, I want you to stay at your church. I want you to live there a long time. Somebody's like, wow, it's 9 a.m. in the morning. I'm listening to a podcast and he says I'm going to die in my role. No, we want you to live. But we want you to live. Well, yeah, we want you to live, and we want you to have an experience and other people that live after you. I want you to live a 300-year type legacy. That the effects of your training has gone beyond just you. Well, of course, we try to define it. We try to develop it, and we're going to have some practical opportunities to do it. And so let's define this thing. Step number one is we're going to define this. How do you build a self-sustaining ministry team? Now, we got this wonderful graphic, and it's almost like blocks that are stacked upon one another. Can you talk us through this, Vance?
Yes. So let me say one phrase, you said something that piqued something, like
sure,
you said.
That's good.
Legacy. So to quantify this, what we're talking about, this is a living legacy.
Mm-hmm.
How to have a legacy while you're still there.
Mm.
How to see your vision, the heart, the passion that God has put in you, how to see that take off while you're there to see it.
Yes.
Your legacy doesn't have to wait until you're dead and gone, or you passed on, or you went to another church. You can experience legacy, God-honoring legacy and fruit in ministry while you're there.
Have you ever seen that movie with Tom Hanks, Castaway, where he gets stranded on a desert island? Well, of course, if you know the movie, he was a FedEx delivery guy, and he keeps one package. And of course, there's a funny FedEx commercial where he actually delivers that one package that he kept all along. And what did he have in there but a GPS tracker, a satellite phone, some fishing line, and all of the resources that he actually would have needed if he'd have been stranded on an island, which he was. Well, guess what? Leadministry.com, the 4 levels of membership that we have, it's like opening up your package on a desert island called you in your church. You need some assistance. And we don't want you to get to the end of your ministry career only to realize that there was a resource that could help you avoid burnout and make sure that your spouse doesn't resent the ministry. Leadministry.com. We can help you make sense of the chaos and the clutter in ministry. We're here for you. Leadministry.com.
So this is how you do it.
And isn't that the special thing? It's like the parents or the grandparents who have amassed an amount of wealth, and rather than just waiting until they die, they're doling it out, and they're getting to see their grandkids enjoy this. We want to see people have healthier leadership lives while they're in front of us. This is living legacy. Oh, it's such a good word, Vance. I'm glad that you brought this up. I could cry because we want people to not have burned out lives. We want to see them thrive and flourish right in front of us.
Yes.
And your leadership can actually be that vehicle. And so it comes down to training. It does not happen on its own, however.
That's right. This concept was introduced to me by one of the pastors that I worked for, and it was we were in a really pivotal season of growth where we just went into a new building, and kind of one of these explosive growth stories where we had those great problems, like we got too many people that we can't take care of them. And the fear now is all these people have come. Well, if we don't change and do something, one, we're going to die. We're going to burn out. We're going to be toast. Or we don't have the systems and structure to support all of this.
That's right.
And so the way that this was presented was, if you'd imagine, and I wish I would have put it here on this little graphic, but a basketball goal on the right side. And you ask somebody, hey, why don't you just go and slam dunk? Well, I don't know about you. I can't slam dunk.
Vertically challenged. That's Josh. I can't jump.
Can do lots of things. Doing a dunk isn't one of them. And so how do we build our teams in such a way that they're able to dunk? Well, you can do that 2 ways. We can build steps to get them to elevate them to dunk it, or we can lower the goal.
I don't want to lower the goal.
Don't want to lower the goal. I want to keep the goal up, and let's create steps to get us there, to accomplish and to build the ministry that is self-sustaining, that we can live in that legacy, that doesn't burn us out, that serves everyone in the organization. So how do we get there? Okay,
so as I'm looking at this graphic, you have a basketball hoop on the far right, and there is just no way that I can jump that high. It's just not physically possible. And so I could, in a sense, appropriately cheat the system, and I could have a block that I step on, and then there's a block with a block on top of it. And then again, there's a block with a block with a block on top of that. And then I can just walk up some stairs and easily dunk the ball.
Yeah, easily dunk the ball. I can achieve the thing that seemed unachievable.
That's right.
So how do you get there? How do you build a system? How do you build a team, training your volunteers to release them to be self-replicating, living beyond you? And so we're going to dive into each one of these three things, but the picture is exactly what you just described. There's three phases. These are three M's. It starts with modeling. Then we continue to model, and we also then mentor. And so now we've got 2 blocks stacked up for those of you that can't see, that are in podcast land. Yep. Then phase 3 is we're continuing to model. We're also mentoring, but now there is a multiplication. There's multiply. That's our third now. On phase 3, we've got all 3 blocks, and those are our stairs.
They're stairs, and that makes the achieving a very audacious and big and happy and healthy goal more achievable.
Yes, there is steps. I can take a step, get to another level, take another step, get to that level, take another step to the next level. And so it's incremental, and we're going to take people with us.
Now, one thing that you brought up that I think is probably deeply embedded in this model is that you've got model, mentor, then multiply, but you are continually modeling, and then you begin to continue to mentor. And that's the only way, because it's a pipeline. So you're always modeling. It's not that it's all of a sudden like, I'm done modeling, I'm now mentoring, and I'm done mentoring, and I'm now multiplying. You are continually and at all times modeling. Such a good word.
Well, and what we'll see as we dig into all these, the multiply is then when now it's being replicated and somebody else is modeling, somebody else is mentoring.
Yes.
And so now you've got mentoring. You are a grandparent of this development process. This is where there's so many, and I don't know about you, I have very few people that I look back that go, really developed me as a leader, and really even discipled me. My dad's really the only person. I did have one executive pastor that I'd say he really invested in me. I was 20 years old working at a church, and he invested in me. He took me under his wing. He modeled and mentored me into being a leader. Yes. And now look, I'm doing this with other people because of that initial investment.
Yes. Now, I may be hijacking our own future glory on this podcast, but I do want to share a story if I can. So I took over as kids pastor, and it was a big church. And I'm telling you, the guy who I took it over from, still a friend of mine. I love the guy. But he was absolutely ill-equipped. He'd be the first to tell you that, true story. He would have literally a piece of paper that was a problem that he needed to deal with. And I watched him on more than one occasion pick up a whole bunch of other papers and stuff it under those papers and just put it on top. He was burying his problems because it was simply too overwhelming. He was not the guy for this job. Okay. Wow. So I took over, and it was a completely disheveled thing. And so I had to do everything as I first started, but that was not sustainable. No. And so I did have a mentor who would say the role of a pastor isn't to do the work of the ministry. The role of the pastor is to build up the body to do the work of the ministry. Fair. So then I was crushing this 5th and 6th grade ministry. I was having a ton of fun with it, built it from scratch. And I was doing the games. I was doing the music. I was doing the teaching. I was writing the small group curriculum. I was doing every bit of it. And this pastor was like, hey, what are you doing today? I said, I'm doing this. He said, okay, that's great. Who are you training to do that? And I was like, brr. So I modeled for a guy named Cameron. And I said, Cameron, I want you just to watch me do games. All I want you to do is watch. And so then I did games. And then after several weeks, I said, what are you noticing me do? Now, this is one of my favorite stories. And he goes, hey, I do have one question. Why didn't you call on Johnny Smith in the front row who had his hand up the entire time as you were explaining the instructions for the game? And he goes, it seemed as if you you had to have seen his hand in the air. I said, well, I absolutely saw that. He goes, so why didn't you call on him? I said, because Johnny Smith didn't have a question. He wanted to hijack and be a funny character here.
Right.
He was like,
Yes.
oh, so I don't have to call on everybody. I said, no, you don't.
No.
So I was
There are some
modeling.
people you don't want to call on.
So I was modeling for him, and he was picking up on things, though he had never done it himself.
Yeah.
And so then after a while, I said, okay, buddy, next week it's going to be you, or in a couple weeks. So then as it turned out, we went to Jason's Deli every single week. And I said, okay, now did you go to those 3 websites for where I typically would find games? Oh, yep, sure did. And I said, did you come with 2 or 3 of your best examples? Absolutely. Have I ever told you this story, Vance?
No.
Oh, come on, this is so good. So all of a sudden, he was all fired up. He said, okay, here's my first. I said, this is your first pick? This is my first pick. I said, this is of all the things, this is the one. I said, okay. So he explained the game, and he was kind of like all jazzed. And I said, hey, what's the likelihood of a 85th and 6th graders to start yelling out, chug it, chug it? And he goes, oh, yeah, I didn't think about that one. I said, okay. He goes, bad game? I said, bad game. And so, right, I had modeled how to do gaming.
You crushed his dreams, Josh. You crushed his chug it dreams.
That's right. So then he said, okay, well, I said, show me your next one. And so then he pulls out a next one, and he's kind of excited. He's explaining it. And I said, okay, now remember, what are some of the driving principles of games? And he goes, well, we want to have fun. I said, yep. I said, you taught me, and I've watched you. You got to explain it in under 3 minutes. It can't be a 30-minute explanation for the game when we have 12 minutes to play the game. Okay, good. I said, now, there's a third one that I always wanted you to make sure. What was it? Well, we want to have 80 to 90% of the kids engaged. And I said, okay, so given those 3 criterion, what do you think? Well, it is fun. And I can explain it super fast. And he goes, oh, there's only 2 people playing at any time and 99% spectators. And I said, oh, okay. So we didn't have to have him do the game. He watched me do it. And then I said, now you try to come up with a couple of games. That was some mentorship, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then we put him in the game, actually physically in the game. He was doing game time. And then every Monday we would go, how do you think that went? Well, I kind of called on Johnny Snotnose, and he kind of the reason the game explanation went long is that I saw a hand in the air and I didn't see the sparkle in his eye that he wanted to hijack my Okay. So he's figuring this out. And then he is a master. He's crushing it at games. And he was funny, and he was magnanimous, and he was all these things. And then at some point, I said, hey, do you see me playing guitar? Yeah. I said, I think you play guitar, right? Oh, yeah, I do. And I said, I want to teach you how to do guitar now that you know how to do games. But before you do guitar, you need to do that which I did in you. You need to do it in somebody else. Now, I had somebody in mind, and I said, who could you begin to poke and tap and model and mentor? And he said, I'm thinking Michael Meason. And I said, that's what I was thinking. And so then the same exact process, I had multiplied myself and him, but I had trained him to be a multiplier. So that's one of my favorite stories. And we did that over and over and over and over.
I love it.
Well, let's get into the meat of this thing. What does it mean to model? What does it mean to mentor? What does it mean to multiply? Let's develop this and take it deeper. So as it refers to modeling, you are the trail guide for them. As Jesus said, come and I will make you. Tell us more, Vance.
Right. Yeah. So if you use a trail guide analogy, this is the person. I know the trail, and I'm going to walk you along the trail. I know where all the loose rocks are, the pitfalls, the Johnnies that want to hijack. And as we're walking through, I'm going to guide you on the trail. You've never been on this trail before.
Right.
And so I'm going to model for you how to walk this trail, how to know this trail. This is that stage. This is when Jesus said to the disciples, come and I will make you. This is the making process. Come and I'm going to make, I'm going to invest in you. I'm going to pour into you. I'm going to impart something that is in me that now needs to live in you. What I'm doing is modeling investment. That's what we're modeling. We're modeling investment.
This is a really good thing because what we're not modeling is a technique.
That's right.
We're not modeling. We talked about checklists last time. Checklists are great. We're not modeling checklists. We're modeling investing in another human being.
Yeah. And even at this stage, at the model phase, they may not know that you're full on intention. And in some ways, it's probably best not.
It is best not. Don't let the cat out of the bag. Don't tell them where you're going quite yet.
That you're just you're sowing this. So this is the way this would look like. I did this. I always had at least 2 people at all times that I was at the model phase with in my ministry. Here's typically how it worked out. Is what I would do is my Sunday mornings, hey, Sunday is shot already. Sunday's a day that, for the most part, I found that if I wanted to have men in my ministry, they don't want to take any time away from their family, but there's one time in the week that they're willing to get out of bed and when it doesn't affect their family, and that's on Sunday mornings. And so starting at Sunday morning at 5:30, I would have a meeting where I would and this would be a dad, somebody I meet, and I see my radar's going off. This is a person I'm honing in. I'd have the conversation. Hey, Steve, would you want to get together with me? I would love just to get to know you better, to get to know you. You want to meet me for coffee? Now, my first one wouldn't be at 5:30 in the morning on Sunday morning. Sure. It might be in the afternoon, and then we'd meet. And then in that conversation, that's for me to find out, okay, what's the potential here? Is this person somebody that has potential to be a leader, to be a part of my ministry? Is there chemistry here? And in that meeting at the end, I would say, hey, do you want to do this regularly? This is great, man. I've loved it.
It's an invitation. It's an invitation for a deeper investment.
Come and I will make you. Come and I will make you. Why don't we do this consistently? What if we met every other week on Sunday mornings? And, I'll just get up early. I've got another guy that I'm already meeting with at 6:30. And so if you want to come at 5:30, we can meet at 5:30 every other week. And man, I'd love just to meet with you, invest in you. And typically, I've never had anyone tell me no.
Okay, because there's this subset of people that are literally starving. They're starving for a greater cause. They are starving for somebody to notice them and to take an intentional interest in them. That's us. I love this.
And so often we overcomplicate this. This is not some magical, you have to have all your theology correct. This is just life on life. Now, I would do it with purpose. And at some point, again, as you will see when we get further on here, I don't necessarily need a playbook to mentor and to, but they might.
They might.
And so I'm going to begin to model this investment with them and then give them the playbook. But I'm operating where this is just, how are you doing? And then the next time, what is God showing you? And then what are you going to do about that? How are you going to respond to what God is showing you and do? And then the next time you make notes, well, this is what was going on in their family. Here's what we agree. Now we come back to it. Hey, how did that go in the last 2 weeks? And there's probably
and by the way, this life on life stuff, I did that just like you did that. And I was extremely intentional with that. But I always packaged it around an opportunity to participate. It wasn't just us sitting around and navel gazing about our sorry lives. Okay.
That's right. We're moving things forward.
I'm placing them into the game. But I'm also making sure that as a coach, I know my players really, really, really well. But it wasn't just to get to know people, which I think is worthy in and of itself. But in this training thing, I'm getting to know people with an intent to plug them in.
Because typically this is either somebody that I'm wanting to engage in my ministry or someone that already is a volunteer that I want to take to the next level.
That's right.
That I want to help them move, take the step. We need to take the step.
So we had some modeling, and now we're moving into mentoring.
Right. And so now this is where you're turning the corner, and now you're saying, where I'm continuing to model this for you, but now, over a few months, now it's, hey, has this been fruitful for you? Has this helped you? And yes, absolutely, man, I've enjoyed this too. And it is enjoyable to invest in somebody. Would you want to do this with somebody else? And well, yeah. Okay. Now what we're doing is now I'm turning into mentoring. And now what I'm doing is I'm pulling back the curtain.
Yes.
We're continuing to meet. And I'm saying, here's why I'm asking you the question. So I'm asking you the question, and I'll go, pause. Here's why I'm asking you this question, to get this response, to lead you in this direction. So now I'm showing them the secret sauce here. I'm mentoring. I'm teaching them how to be a trail guide.
Yes.
So they're not leading anybody else right now. I'm mentoring them and how to be a trail guide. Went from model, now I'm showing them.
Now I got to say that with a certain couple of people that I knew they were this type of person. Even though we said we don't really want to tell people until we're a little bit further down the trail, a little bit further down the road, there were a handful of people that I was like, hey, I just want to let the cat out of the bag. Like,
sure.
Here's where I'm headed, because you are that gifted of a leader. And so I want you to not just have these things happen and then me have to look back and tell you what I was doing. I want you to be observing how I'm doing this, because there is a time coming where you are going to be doing this, and I'm modeling for you exactly how to duplicate yourself and others. So truth be told, this has great intentionality. Here is my end game. So watch me do this for you, because you're going to be doing this for someone soon.
Yes, absolutely. And so you're right. There are some people that they need that challenge and they want it, and absolutely bring them in. And so now the transition is they're learning to teach. They're not just learning and observing, they're learning to teach, which I think is one of the best ways to learn.
Absolutely. And so this was, hey, Cameron, watch me do games. Hey, Cameron, now you do games. But guess what, buddy? Like, you have to, it's time for you to develop somebody else. And so then we transitioned him to be a teacher. Can I be honest with you? I never met with Michael Meeson one time about games. Not once. I only had Cameron do that. So that was a positive. That was a positive thing. Now let's turn the corner here and go to multiply.
Now at multiply, again, we're continuing to model. I'm continuing to mentor them because now they're leading somebody else. The multiply is now your trail guide for others. They're on the trail showing them, here's where the rocks are a little bit loose. Here's where you got to watch your step. There's the cactus.
Watch for that kid who's got his hand in the air. He's just trying to game you. His game is not the game.
And a lot of your conversation, again, is you're modeling, you're investing, you're mentoring them. You're talking, how is that going with Cameron?
Michael.
How is it going with Michael?
Yes.
What do you think? Well, I mean, Michael's really struggling with, okay, well, here's how I would approach that situation. And so now you're helping, you're coaching him into being that trail guide, the leader. And now he's investing in them, and you become a development grandparent.
I love that.
This is where this really begins to take hold and take root in your organization, is when it goes beyond you. Where
but Vance,
you're not the only one developing and investing. There are others developing and investing.
Okay, now I'm going to have to pull back here, because somebody out there is going to be like, okay, great. In 3 weeks, I'm going to, no. This was a 2.5 year process of me meeting with Cameron every single week at Jason's Deli. I could cry every single Monday for 2.5 years without fail. This was not, it was consistent, slow burn, slow approach. And by the way, I wasn't doing this with 80 people. I was doing this with but a handful of people. But the ministry multiplication and the ripple effect of pouring into but a few changed everything.
I would say, and I broke this down into phases,
Mm-hmm.
I would say the typical phase, and it depends on the person,
Mm-hmm.
each phase is at least 6 months.
I am so glad you said that, because I want the listeners not to be fooled, not to be duped. This
isn't microwave.
No, it is not. And this is not, your way, right away, Burger King. No, this is slow burn, beautiful, long range ministry that has lasting fruit.
And like we've talked about in past episodes, this is your calling.
Mm-hmm.
You say, I don't have time for this. This is what you were called to do. This is what Ephesians 4, this is the mandate as a gift to the church. You were called to develop, to equip who? This is the work of being a pastor, a church leader, to equip people to do ministry, to replicate.
This is the truth. And it's in what's so hard. And I'm glad that your pastor, during that explosive growth, what happens so fast is they're like, we don't have time for any of this. Well, if you don't do this, it will implode. There is absolutely no question. Well, let's turn the corner. Let's land this plane. Putting these M's, the model, then the mentor, and then the multiply, putting this into practice. Let's do this. Well, first, it does come down to praying, maybe for eyes to see which person you could pour into.
That's right. That's exactly what pray for that person. God, who is it? And I believe that the Holy Spirit right now is putting that name in your mind, in your spirit right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And respond to that. But pray, God, who else? Who is it that you've placed in my life, that you have put them in my life so that my life can be affected by their lives and theirs can be affected by mine?
Just like Paul said, the things that you've heard from me in the presence of many witnesses, pass them on to faithful people who will be able to pass them on as well. But I need to pray and find that first person. The next piece after we pray is plan.
We got to come up with a plan, get a strategy. This does not happen. This has to be intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I didn't just by happenstance get 4 guys that I'm developing on this path. No, it took planning, it took conversations, it took forethought and strategically lining my schedule, having to line all of that up. And then what are we going to do? Again, comes back to, I can do this naturally. So what are we going to use? What's the formula? And there's all kinds of things that you can use in these conversations. Is it, I don't know if you've heard about the learning circle. That's a great one where you go, okay, what's God telling you? What are you going to do about that? Holding account. It's just, we're going to continue on. It doesn't matter what you pick, just something that is replicatable. And again, we've used this analogy in other podcasts. This is an artificial limb to give somebody something, a playbook that, because if I'm just showing you, then that just means through osmosis, you got to pick this up. No, here's a process that I'm going to show now that here's the playbook that you can replicate. So there is some planning that's involved, and figure out what works for you.
That's exactly right.
And this is not, the goal of this is not just, discipleship is a piece of this. This is where we also integrate, where we're talking about our life, our ministry, our leadership, all of these things are intersecting. This isn't just for fun, spiritual. That is a piece of it.
It is a piece, but
these conversations are ministry and leadership as well, integrating all of it in a holistic way.
Okay, games. We're beating this dead horse of games, but it's an easy, quick example. Games were a means by which I helped develop Cameron. Yes, games were the game. I don't give 2 rips about games, even though they are a piece to the puzzle of leading kids to Christ and leading kids to a deeper relationship with God. I get that, but games were a vehicle for me to build another person.
It's the equipper's paradigm from our
previous podcast,
Trained Volunteers episode. If you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to it. But that's the equipper's paradigm. Jesus used serving tasks to equip his followers.
Bingo.
We're using games, whatever the vehicle is, to equip, to develop The people that God's.
So then you got purpose. And so part of the purpose is even happening before your plan because you're thinking with the end in mind.
Well, that word is propose. Is it not?
Vance, this is like the third time, isn't it?
It's okay.
But I've got some remedial reading exercises.
I do this all the time, John. I mean, there is purpose here. There is purpose. And the purpose is that you propose. So we're praying about who God, what is my plan, and now go act on it. Go propose it to somebody.
So you're propositioning somebody. You're propositioning somebody to go, I'm calling you to action. Propose. This is awesome.
Just come meet me for coffee.
So you're praying and asking God to reveal somebody to you. You have to have an intentional plan, but then you actually have to ask and propose an idea. Will you do this with me?
Yes. Come and join me.
Come and join me. Well, Vance, this is good stuff. Thank you for my reading corrections there.
I'm the homeschooled one here, Josh. Come on, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you had me thinking. I was like, the first thing I thought is that how you spell?
No.
Purpose? I don't think it is. I think I spelled it right.
You spelled it right on this one and on a previous podcast. Well, gang, this has been the Lead Ministry Podcast. We want you to develop other people. This is the training. This is a deep dive into training. This is how you train people to train others who will also train others so that the ministry can be super, super fruitful. Well, we're grateful that you're here. Stay with us and we will bring you more good content. Thanks again. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Lead Ministry Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram and visit leadvolunteers.com for more episodes and resources. Thanks for listening.